Hi, it's Rob Bryanton, back with you once again with the Imagining the 10th Dimension video blog. Today's entry is dated June 27th, 2008. If you want to read along with it, you can go to 10thdimension.com/blog, and the entry is called God 2.0. It goes like this. Last entry, we talked about the daily parrying that would cause some people to look at a blog titled God 2.0 and automatically assume that what's going to be talked about will be non-scientific meandering about the world of the spiritual and the metaphysical. If you're familiar with my blog or my book, you'll already know that I'm more interested in the middle ground, a place where philosophy and physics, spirituality and science can find ways to agree that they are really thinking about the same things. Now, Michael Shermer is the well-known publisher of Skeptic magazine, and Michael's goal has been to poke holes in the questionable claims of fringe science, the paranormal, and a wide range of other areas that he's targeted with his razor-sharp debunking skills. This is why I found it quite marvelous when I picked up the July issue of Scientific American and found that Mr. Shermer's regular column in this issue is entitled Sacred Science. Can Emergence Break the Spell of Reductionism and Put Spirituality Back into Nature? Mr. Shermer's article is about a fellow who comes from my neighboring province of Alberta, here in Canada. Stuart Kaufman, founding director of the Institute for Biocomplexity and Informatics at the University of Calgary. He's written a book called Reinventing the Sacred. To quote from Michael Shermer's article about the book now, I'm going to read from again, the July issue of Scientific American magazine. The article sequence goes like this. Kaufman reverses the reductionist's causal arrow with a comprehensive theory of emergence and self-organization that he says breaks no laws of physics and yet cannot be explained by them. God is our chosen name for the ceaseless creativity in the natural universe, biosphere, and human cultures, Kaufman declares. And Michael Shermer goes on, I've spent time with Stu Kaufman. He's one of the most spiritual scientists I know, a man of inestimable warmth and ecumenical tolerance, and his God 2.0 is a deity worthy of worship. But I am skeptical that it will displace God 1.0, Yahweh, whose Bronze Age program has been running for 6,000 years on the software of our brains and culture. Now, I've talked many times here about the role of creativity in our universe and how ideas from quantum physicist John Wheeler and professor of cognitive science Douglas Hofstadter can be tied together to show us how a self-excited loop can create not just a universe, but life and consciousness as well. In my book, I used physicist Richard Feynman's sum over paths idea to show how the past is just as probabilistic as we know the future to be. Now that Anton Zeilinger is publishing the results of experiments he and his team in Vienna have conducted that prove that we are operating in a probabilistic cloud where the only thing that is truly real for us is the constantly moving now of our observed reality, the ideas I proposed are being confirmed. And as John Wheeler suggested, this means that there are some indeterminate elements of the past that can be changed by our current observation. As I've been saying here, this means we can all select new trajectories from our current now at any time that launch us off on a new path. And accepting the indeterminate nature of the past is key to understanding how much power we're talking about here. As I discussed in Changing Your Genes, the scientific study that shows we're able to switch off and on various genes simply through changes in lifestyle and changes in attitude gives us a glimpse of how the past is not as carved in stone as we've been led to believe. Because quantum physics is proving that our currently observed reality is derived from a multiverse of possible choices that exist in both the future and the past for our universe at any particular now. Scientists like Sean Carroll, David Deutsch, and of course Richard Dawkins are atheists. I reference their work regularly with this project. I believe the Dawkins concept of genes as a river out of Eden and memes as ideas that can be transmitted or shared without loss across time and space are both very useful and enlightened ways of imagining the underlying timelessness of our reality. My way of imagining how our reality is constructed agrees with Dr. Carroll's ideas about an equilibrium state which is outside the system. My project also agrees with the Deutsch team's proof that the parallel worlds resulting from chance and choice are directly equivalent to the probabilistic results of quantum mechanics. Now here's something new. The June 14th, 2008 issue of New Scientist magazine has an article about the award-winning work of mathematicians John Thomson and Jacques T., who have offered some mind-expanding proofs about how our universe is derived from symmetries in the higher dimensions. This idea is related to Garrett Lisi's 8-dimensional E8 symmetry group, which I've referred to a number of times in this blog, which I believe ties back into my project as well. By the time you have imagined an omniverse which expresses all possible patterns of mass and energy, there's an equilibrium state where all of those possible patterns unfold back into a balance, where everything fits together into a perfect symmetry, which is the natural underlying state. Our universe is defined by higher dimensional patterns which give it its unique laws of physics and its breathtaking intricacy, right from the quarks and neutrinos up to the universe as a whole and all of its possible space-time tree of expressions. In that sense, our cosmos is just a temporary deviation which has been set in motion by the breaking of that symmetry, and our line of time is a return to that perfectly balanced zero which existed before our universe began and which we'll return to after our universe has run its course. So while some would object to calling Stuart Kauffman's patterns of emergence that feed back on themselves to create our beautiful complex universe God, perhaps God 2.0 as a useful way to reset our thinking about all this. All we are really thinking about here is how higher dimensional patterns could be responsible for the universe we find ourselves to be in, to be selected from the multiverse of all other possible universes, which ultimately are all part of the Omniverse, where information equals reality. And that is a beautiful thing, worthy of our praise and our wonder. And we're going to finish off with the last of the 26 songs that I created for this project. This is from the ones that I created just with me sitting at my 100-year-old piano in my living room. The song is called Thankful, from Rob Bryanson. This is Imagine the 10th Dimension. Enjoy the journey.
That each of us must win, for each and every moment that we're in.